Hey guys, it's Jana, and today me and Emma are going to make some Christmas cookies. We are so excited. Emma picked out the first one we're gonna do. I have 7 recipes for you guys, so I will link them and or type them up down below. These cookies we have been making for years. They are so good, and I will also link all my previous videos of making our cookies. We always have so much fun. So I hope this motivates you to bring a little sweetness in your home with some Christmas cookies. So we're gonna jam out to some Christmas music and make these babies. So go ahead and hit subscribe, thumbs up, check all the links down below. Be sure to share this video with all of your friends because they need cookies too. Let's make all these cookies today. First up are the Grinch mint cookies. Emma loves these. These are her favorite. So you'll need 1 box of vanilla cake, 1 stick of softened butter, a tablespoon of oil, 2 eggs at room temperature, some powdered sugar, cornstarch, green food coloring, and peppermint extract, and some heart sprinkles. And this is edible adhesive. So we're gonna mix together our vanilla cake mix, our butter and oil, and the 2 eggs. And now we're gonna add the food coloring and the extract. I did about a ½ teaspoon of the extract. This batter is pretty goopy, so I like to wrap it in some cling wrap and throw it in the freezer just to get it hardened up because we have to roll this into balls. I do not know how people would do it without freezing it first. While that's in the freezer, we're gonna start our gingerbread crinkle. These also have to go in the fridge. There is a reason why I'm doing all of these first. For these, we need 3 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of ginger, ½ teaspoon of cloves, a ½ teaspoon of salt, 1½ sticks of butter, 3/4 cup of molasses, 2 tablespoons of milk, ½ cup of sugar, and a ½ cup of powdered sugar. So we're gonna throw all the dries together. So our flour, brown sugar, the baking soda, and our spices. So as you can tell, Emma is not helping me very much because Quinn's friends came over and they started hanging out. Oh well, the kids are having fun, it's awesome, and I'm getting some cookies made. And we're just gonna mix that together and get it all even. And we need to cut our butter into little cubes. This is a little bit softened, but still pretty cool. And just mix those in, and your batter should be a little sandy at that point. I love this slider measuring cup. It makes it so easy for sticky stuff, but we're gonna do our molasses here. And you will see, you just slide it on out and everything comes out. You're not scraping it out of your measuring cup. I really do love this tool. It comes in handy. And then we're gonna add our little bit of milk here and mix that all up. And again, we're gonna get our cling wrap out and put this in the freezer for a little bit just to get it to harden up. It's kind of crumbly right now, which is how it should be. And when we make little balls out of it, it'll all come together. Don't worry. So now the Grinches are ready to rock, so let's get these pans done. I'd like to use parchment paper. It's just a lot easier and cleaner than baking directly on the pan. I have a bowl of granulated sugar here, and this is a bowl of powdered sugar and a little bit of cornstarch. And I got my trusty scooper, so my cookies will all be the same size. So we're just gonna scoop out our batter and roll little balls out of it and roll it into the granulated sugar and then throw it in the powdered sugar mix. And then these guys will be ready to bake. So since this is my new oven, I'm going to be double checking my cookies because the times could be a little bit off. And we're gonna bake these little Grinches at 375 for 8 minutes. And then we'll check on them. But while they're baking, just keep on rolling your cookies out. I did actually make a few batches of this one because we are doing a cookie exchange at Girl Scouts, and this is the one that Emma wanted to do for them. I have this paper that I am going to cover the table with. so I can just lay all my cookies out as they go along. It works out really, really nice with this new table. I love having the big long table. So let's start rolling our gingerbread crinkles. So we're gonna do the same thing. Just roll the ball and throw it in the sugar and then throw it in the powdered sugar. So this seemed a little bit more efficient this time. I just threw the sugar coated onto a plate, and then we're gonna do the powdered sugar because, you know, the powdered sugar got all over my hands, and then I couldn't really roll the next batch, so I had to wash my hands in between like a zillion times. So I think this might be the smarter way to go, guys. And we're gonna bake the crinkle cookies at 350 for 12 minutes. Once the gingerbreads do come out, I do like to squish it down with like a little bowl or a glass or whatever you have that is flat, just because these don't really spread very much on their own. Now we're gonna do the eggnog cookies. I love eggnog. So we need 2 1/4 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 3/4 cup of butter at room temperature, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of light brown sugar, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of rum extract, and a half a cup of eggnog. So we are going to mix together our butter and our sugars and get that nice and fluffy pale yellow. Now we're gonna mix in 1 egg yolk at a time. And then throw in our extracts and our eggnog. Throw in your flour and your baking powder and salt and spices and get that all mixed together. Again, I'm gonna line my pans with some new parchment paper. The last 2 cookies, I just used the same parchment paper since they were both covered in sugar anyway. It was like the same thing. So now we're just gonna scoop, scoop, scoop. I don't have to roll these, so these go by really fast. So we're just gonna scoop these in and get them in the oven at 350 for 11 to 13 minutes. Now there is a frosting for the eggnog cookies, but I actually don't use it. So if you check out the recipe, there is the recipe for the frosting there too. But you know, it's kind of hard with making this many Christmas cookies for them to be like stackable in the fridge and stuff. Next up is one of Daddy's favorites. It's cranberry pistachio cookies. These are so simple. We will need 1 sugar cookie mix, 1 box of pistachio pudding, a 1/4 cup of flour, a 1/2 cup of melted butter, 2 eggs, a cup of chopped pistachios, and a 1/2 cup of dried cranberries. So I did get the pistachios that were already shelled. I have never done that before because they are more expensive, but let me tell you, it saved so much time because we would usually just sit there as a team and just be shelling pistachios for like ever to make these. So this was actually a kind of nice treat to be able to just chop them right away. And I do really like this chopper. It is so easy to use, and instead of getting out your knife and chopping up nuts and whatnot, it just works so fast. I'm like on the hunt for one of my measuring cups, and I found it in the sink, so I had to give it a quick wash. Now that everything's chopped up, we are ready to rock. So just throw the cookie mix in there, throw the jello in there, the little bit of flour, mix that all together. Then we're gonna add all of our wets. So we got the melted butter, the eggs, and mix those together. It's really cool to watch the green come out as you mix with the pudding. So these are in the oven at 350 for 8 to 10 minutes. So now it's a good opportunity to get this kitchen all cleaned up and straightened up in between making all of these cookies. So I'll just get some dishes done while they are baking. so we can move on to the next cookie. Oh, this one is one of hubby's favorites too. It's the orange chocolate chip. So we need 1 chocolate cake box mix, half a cup of vegetable oil, 2 eggs, some orange extract, orange zest, and some chocolate chips. I'm gonna use dark chocolate, but you can use milk chocolate if you want. So we're just gonna mix together our cake mix, the oil and eggs. Get that all together there. Throw a little bit of extract in there, maybe like a half a teaspoon. And we're gonna zest this orange. It just adds so much more flavor. And then add your chocolate chips. I forgot that the dark chocolate chips are so huge. I probably should have chopped them up, but I already dumped them in before I realized. Oh well. So we're just gonna scoop these out onto our parchment paper and get these baked at 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. This is our chip and cherry bread. I love this one. So we will need 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1.5 cups of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, 2 cups of chopped walnuts, 1 cup of dates, and 1 cup of maraschino cherries with the juice. So we're gonna mix together the eggs and the sugar and get that all combined there. As you can see, Emma is back. Quinn's friends have left, so now she wants to play with me. I see how that is, girl. And then we'll add in the flour and the baking powder. So now we're gonna put in our chocolate chips, walnuts, and dates. And I like to cut my cherries. They are whole cherries in that jar, so I do kind of cut them up into halves and quarters depending on how big the cherry is. Now we're just gonna mix it all up. I just love the coloring, it looks so pretty. Pour it into your loaf pan, and we're gonna bake this at 325 for quite a while. My recipe says 45 minutes for some reason, but it has never been done in like 45 minutes. It's more like an hour and 15 minutes. So just keep your eye on it. As long as your toothpick comes out clean, you're all good. All right, so the Grinch needs to grow a heart here, so we're gonna put a little adhesive on the back of the heart and stick it right onto the cookie. Last one is the Pizzelle. These are a family favorite. So we need 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 4 eggs. I know it looked like I was holding 3, but I was actually holding 4. One was like hiding. So we're just gonna combine all of our ingredients and mix it all together. This one is very simple. And I like doing this one last because I get to sit to make it. So I got the bread in the oven, so that takes a long time, and then it does take a while to do all of these, but I get to sit and do it with the Pizzelle iron because we have had a long day on our feet today. So that's kind of my routine with doing cookies. I like to do the ones that you have to freeze the dough first and then do all the easy ones in the middle and then do the breads and the sitting down at the end. It works out really well. So I have my Pizzelle iron here, and you just kind of wait until the light changes. And I like to cut them out into perfect circles, so I'm actually using my husband's Yeti, and the size is like perfect. To be honest, I just didn't want to hunt down my cookie cutter box. I know where it is. It's really high, and I'd have to get a ladder, and it's like a whole thing because I'm short. So I'm tired. I got the Yeti. It works perfectly. So use the tools you got, people. Use the tools you got. I don't want the pizzelles to get soggy on the bottom, so I do not just put them on a plate. I put them on the cooling rack to get them perfectly crisp every time. Here with me. If you know where it is, please give him a ride. And I will wait here by the candlelight. All of the presents are still by the tree. They don't mean a thing till it's here with me. If you know. While those are going in the iron, I'm going to clean up just a little bit. I cannot leave all of this stuff out, and it's getting pretty late, so I'm just going to listen for the little light to ping. Where it is, please give him a ride, and I will wait here by the candlelight. All right, guys, we made all 7 cookies. Well, 6 cookies and 1 bread. So it was a very long day, but of course we had stuff in between. Actually, Emma didn't end up helping me very much, did she? Because Quinn's friends came over, and that was the end of that. They all had to play, but they had a great day. I had a great day getting all this done, and it smells amazing in here, and yeah, we've already been munching on these suckers. So I hope you enjoy all these recipes. I will type them and link them down below in the description. Let me know if you try any of these, if you love them, hate them. I don't see how you would hate them. They're so delicious. These are our favorites. I have like a whole pile of recipes, and yeah, we just go through them every year and pick our favorites, and these ones keep coming up every year. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit subscribe, thumbs up, check all the links down below. Be sure to check out those videos I picked out just for you, and I will see you next time. Merry Christmas!